All right, welcome to the Wine Stuff and Wine podcast. My name is Andrew Perry. Over here we got Evan McDonald and Jesse McDonald. We are your host. And today we've got a fancy episode. We've got a fancy episode for you. Look at the spread, look at the wine. We've got Tim Coons, estate manager from Trius and Gretzky.
Howdy.
Look at all this stuff you brought, man.
Yeah, look at the spread.
Wow.
So
This is why we do this.
Absolutely.
This right here.
This is it. You've just stepped
we
it
had
up a
pizza
notch.
last week, and now
Yeah.
look at this.
Well,
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating this, but our chef at Trius, I asked him to put on a bit of a local spread, anything that you can kind of find in Niagara.
Yeah.
So he went ahead and I said maybe some cheese and charcuterie or something, and all of a sudden I went to pick this up and put it in my car and realized it was three trays deep and a whole lot more than I anticipated. So I hope everyone's hungry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I am hungry, and this is making me even more hungry. But this is the Wine Stuff and Wine podcast, where we have some wine, we talk about some stuff, and we have some more wine. And today, you've bought 3 wines for us to try. So you stepped it up a notch on the food, and then you decided to follow suit with the wine. So we got 3 wines. Wow. Tell us what we're getting into.
Yeah, for sure. So the theme obviously is everything Niagara, and so we have 3 awesome wines to try. I'll tell you a little bit about each as we go along, but essentially there's a Riesling from Niagara Collage, a Shiraz from Jackson Triggs, and our whiskey barrel-aged red from Wayne Gretzky Estates.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice. It's a good mix.
Yeah.
This is interesting. The man running Wayne Gretzky's, and he brought 2 wines that aren't from Wayne Gretzky's.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I actually love that because we were just chatting with the paper outside where we're inviting these restaurant owners, all these different people, and they're all bringing their favorite wines. Is it specific to their business or winery? No. So I love the fact that you did that. It just fits in line with the show.
Yeah, it's a great community here in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we're part of Winers of Niagara-on-the-Lake organization, which is 25 wineries, and we all work really well together to try and support and generate tourism in the industry and generate visitation to Niagara-on-the-Lake. So it's all about rising tide floats all boats.
Oh, I love
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
So what can we start off with first? What do you have for us?
Well, I brought the Riesling from Niagara College because that's, for me, sort of where I first learned about the Niagara wine industry. I'm Niagara Falls, born and raised. And, it'd be maybe surprising, but I only drank beer and whiskey. And then when I went to the college, I took a couple of courses there, and that's when I took a wine appreciation course. And that's when it kind of opened my eyes to really all that Niagara has to offer. And this Riesling in particular is one that I used to drink a whole lot of. I used to purchase it by the case,
awesome.
which is difficult to do while you're in school, but it's really representative, I think, of Niagara. Niagara makes incredible Riesling, and it has a lot of acidity, a lot of citrus, a lot of fruit notes, and it pairs well with a lot of food. So it's a really versatile wine and delicious. So why don't we cheers to this first one?
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Evan gets up. I'm the lazy one. I just the core.
It's really nice.
Really crisp and easy drinking. And officially welcome to you guys. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's great to
thank
have
you.
a new building in town and some new faces, and we're thrilled that you guys are here. So welcome officially.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. And this is a splash that we've been making with these incredible guests and all this wine, and what a way to be welcomed.
Yeah. So tell me what you pull out of this. Like if you're gonna give us a breakdown of this wine and why you love it, let's hear it.
Well, wine is sort of a bit suggestive, but typically what you would find in a Riesling is it's very citrusy, so orange peel, lemon, lime, that type of scent is what you pull off the nose. And then when you taste it, you'll find that you might even get some different flavors. Most of your scent actually comes from your smell. But for me, when I taste it, I taste green apple, and it tastes a little bit tart.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. So that's what's so great about it, especially on kind of a warm summer day. It's really refreshing and crisp and kind of cleanses your palate. And that's why it's a go-to for a lot of people. And they also make Riesling in somewhat sweeter styles. So a lot of people that are sort of new to wine will default to Riesling because it's a little bit sweeter and easier drinking. And so, it's a really good one to start off with.
Yeah, I could see this one being something you could sip on hot summer day.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I find that I'm not at the stage yet where I'm like pulling things out.
Yeah.
I'm like a reactive wine critic, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what I taste here, and then you say green apple, I'm like, bam, that's it.
I did the
got
same
that.
thing. I was like, yeah, that is exactly what it is.
But I feel it like in the back of my jaw, like it's like this is like this one is that the tart?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the tartness, and that's the acidity. It's typically a more acidic grape variety, and so that's really what cleanses your palate. Yeah. And that's how a lot of people, sort of generate knowledge when it comes to learning about wine. Is a lot of it is sort of suggestions about what you would typically taste in that.
Yep.
Then you understand for yourself whether or not you find that to be true. And over time, I'm going to come here next year, and we'll do this all blind, and I bet you'll be able to pick out a Riesling from a whole different flight of wines, because it really does have a truly distinct taste profile. And it's one of the good industries to be involved in, because this is your homework and your research, and you get to have a little fun at home, and you're always learning for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. That will be next level if we're blindfolded drinking wine.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet.
We'll do it.
Yeah. Try to guess the grape.
Yes.
That's good. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Could get a little kinky.
Well, actually, it's funny because I took, so I did like business golf course. It's like to, open your own golf course one day, hotel, whatever. And every Friday we would have wine tasting. So we had a whole class on wine tasting. I can't really remember all of it, but we did that. That was like our exam, is we had to go blindfolded. And I don't know how, I can't remember how I did, but it's an interesting ability, I guess you could say, to be able to pull all that and be like, okay, that great. Because it wasn't just Niagara wines that you had to, I don't know, did you do something similar in Niagara College where you had wines from all over the world and you had to guess the region and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly right. It was sensory evaluation of wine. So there's 1 and 2. And then I've also participated in WSET, which is Wine and Spirits Education Trust. But I would say I'm sort of mildly educated in the wine business. I'm not a sommelier, but there's a lot of really impressive people. And to me, what's amazing is when they can pick out the region, but they can also pinpoint the specific vintage. Like literally, how do you know that this wine is from Napa in 2017? That sort of it really impresses me. So this goes to show you have a long way to go to learn more about wine.
Is that like just their experience with it?
Yeah, so most people would be a sommelier or a master of wine, and they dedicate their entire life to really learning about wine and where it's from, and winemaking styles, and the technical side of winemaking gives you a lot of indications as to where the wine might be from. So there's so much to know about this whole industry.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's incredible.
I've been invited to a wine club a couple of times. Friends of ours have a wine club, and they have a chef that comes and pairs they'll have 3 or 4 different wines to the dinner, and they'll pair it, and then they try and guess the wines. And there was these 2 guys in the group that was like, I thought like they were cheating. I thought that someone gave them like the notes, like the things that we were saying. They're like, oh, it tastes like this, and from this region, exactly what you're saying. And I'm like I'm getting like punked, right? Like this isn't like a thing. Like I'm trying to like distinguish between like red and white, and these guys are like picking regions and grapes. It's unreal. Obviously, I know the difference between red and white, but it's pretty wild. Like I don't even understand how someone can get to that point that you can pull that out. It's incredible.
Well, I guess because each year, it's kind of like a car in a sense, and I could be way off, but each year has a certain feature about it. So a Mercedes C300 2018 is different from a 2019. And how do you know that? Because the fan, again, like the things that blow out the air, is slightly a different shape. So I guess it's kind of similar to the wine industry, where each year brings out different features of the varieties.
That's interesting.
That's exactly it. It's just about learning all about it.
And
then you can sort of diagnose
you
which
gotta
vintage
drink a
it's from.
lot of it.
Exactly.
Sign me up.
And so one thing that you've done here is you've brought one from Niagara College, right? And that's really interesting to me. Niagara College, I think, has had an impact on the wine industry here. You're seeing that they're having an impact on beer. You're seeing that they're having an impact on spirits and other things. Like, what do you think the impact Niagara College has actually had on the wine industry here? Seeing someone like you, who, now you came from Trius to, well, actually you were at Jackson Triggs originally, right? Then Trius, then you opened Wayne Gretzkys, right? And you're homegrown and learned your base at Niagara College.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me what you think the impact that's having on the industry here, because obviously wine's come a long way in a short period of time in Niagara.
Yeah, I sort of look at it as this kind of complete ecosystem in Niagara, right? So I work at wineries, and naturally we employ students, and they have had to have had their education from somewhere, and so hence where it all starts at Niagara College. And I would say it's transformational in terms of the impact that the college programs have had on the industry. We get to employ people from all different sectors, even though it's the wine business, but in marketing, in events, in culinary, in wine making, sommeliers, people that want to run sort of the commercialization side of the wine business, people that want to run operations. So for me, it's great that we have such a great working relationship. We literally will work with the colleges to help develop some of the programs. Right. We offer a ton of different co-op opportunities within the industry so people can practice and get their feet wet. So it's just a really great, I would say, it's not a formal partnership, but it really does sort of act like that. It's a partnership in terms of, once again, rising tide floats all boats, where we're all working together to strengthen the reputation of this industry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well said.
You know what so you helped open it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. So, cause I did a video on Wayne Gretzky. I don't know if you.
Oh, you did?
With Drone Hub.
Okay.
I can't remember if we were allowed to be there or not.
Well, I won't tell anyone.
No, we did have it. It was an exchange of content, but we did. It was a perfect, beautiful winter day. The snow, I always say, like in Niagara on the Lake, the way the snow falls, it's completely different. Mm-hmm. It's like so picturesque. And we took a drone shot of the 99 logo on the arena, on the hockey rink. Oh man, it was just beautiful. And you guys had, because don't just do wines there. It was a specialty cocktail. I can't remember what I had, but man, was it tasty.
Was it warm or cold cocktail? Or
it was cold.
Yeah, okay.
It was cold. It had an orange twist on it. It was like your take on an old fashioned, maybe. Okay. I can't really remember.
Yeah, we have a 99 old fashioned, so that could very much be it. Or even we had a cocktail called the Rusty Skate.
I think that's what it was.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it was, because I'll be completely honest with you. I am a wine guy, yeah, but I'm also a whiskey and a Scotch guy. And maybe that even first and foremost. But your 99 proof is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
one
it's
of my
delicious,
favorites.
And it's an all rye grain product, and it's really good. The Gretzky property we opened in, I guess it would be 2017. So what is that, like 5 years ago now?
Crazy.
Man, time flies.
Yeah.
And it was a really fun sort of project to be a part of, and it was interesting to see sort of Wayne's involvement as well. He was really particular on the styles of his wine, and how that's presented. And then also when we opened the property, we were in the whiskey business, so it's been a ton of fun diving into that. And so that's really where the cocktail business came, for us. And we had a mixologist. His name is Zach, and he's our state mixologist, and really sort of grew that program from start to finish. Right. I think he knows everyone in Niagara on the Lake. This guy is literally like Jesus. He's amazing. And so he's the one that's has helped to sort of take whiskey, but also expand the market by putting it into cocktails. And then we just got into beer a couple of years ago, so that's been fun. I mean, how could you have a Wayne Gretzky brand that's sort of Canadiana and not have any beer?
Really? I might have known that. I don't know if I've tried it.
Yeah, we just launched it. So we launched it with one, which was a premium rye lager, so a rye grain that adds a bit of a twist. And
is any of it, I don't even know if you could do this, is any of it in the Merlot barrels that you've done with the whiskey and the wine?
So we haven't done anything beer infused in terms of combining the two categories. We do a bunch of beer cocktails at the property, but that's this cool. Red that we'll taste later is literally, it's aged in our red cask whiskey barrels.
That's awesome.
And it's aged in there for 18 months.
So, but the red cask whiskey is aged in Merlot. Is that how that works?
Well, why don't we try it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, let's get to the next winer, because this is going to be we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, exactly. We got a lot of wine to drink.
Okay,
so it's a bit out of order here, but
which one we're going to?
Let's move right to the whiskey barrel aged red.
Okay, sure.
Since we're chatting about it.
Yeah.
And
I didn't mean to screw you up.
No, that's okay. I'm good on the fly. And
I like the design of the bottle too.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, very cool.
The packaging is relatively new, but the wine that's inside the bottle is actually from, well, maybe you should guess, and then if you guess, you get a chance to eat some food. Or
Oh, interesting.
No, so the vintages are 2012 and 2016. So
Those are one of the best.
they're literally, we have only taken 3 barrels. So our winemaker, Craig McDonald, he took 3 barrels from 2 of the best vintages, and it's literally the best quality grapes that he could find in those 2 vintages. And so the wine itself was aged in French barriques, but in order to get the whiskey barrel finish, we took that same wine, the 3 barrels, and put them in old red cask barrels, so the red cask whiskey. And so you can see that there's, number one, it's stronger.
Yeah.
It's stronger on the nose and stronger in taste. It's 14.9% alcohol, I believe, and it's delicious.
This is really smooth.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm probably using like the wrong term here, but almost like creamy. Like it's like so like full and smooth, like velvety. I don't even know how to explain that in a wine.
That's exactly right. Sounds like you're already in the wine business.
Hey, there we go.
Were you Googling over there? Yeah.
Cole's notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Velvety.
Yeah, so smooth and velvety for sure. And for me, it's just a great representation of how well we can make red wine here in Niagara.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's very interesting because we had Joe and Tony from Paradiso on, and my father-in-law. It's kind of my introduction to Niagara wine, and so when I met them, I'm like, man, they had their own 2012, and I said, there's nothing can beat that. It can't. And then eventually, it's very difficult to keep that wine tasting in the bottle form for that long. And this is like the closest thing that I've tasted, and I love it because it's my favorite whiskey. I absolutely love this one. I haven't tasted anything that even came close, and this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. So you're a whiskey or a Scotch guy, and what do you drink, Jesse? What's your go-to?
Mostly bubbles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can never go wrong with bubbles. We make
Yeah.
some awesome sparkling wine at Trius, and
Yes.
I know Jackson Triggs has an Entourage label as well. They make some great sparklers.
Yeah, actually, my actual favorite wine is the Jackson Triggs Merlot Sparkling that Stacy introduced us to.
Yeah, okay.
And that remains my favorite ever since that day.
Yeah, great. I remember when I was working there, I remember we first came out with it, people were sort of shocked at tasting it. And because very rarely do you have a red wine that's sparkling, but it's really astringent, and especially on a hot summer day when it's nice and cold and refreshing. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Let alone like a full-bodied red, like a Merlot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because most of what you have that's sparkling is always so light, right? So it's like even like you see like the rosés, I think, quite a bit, but not like a full red.
No.
Yeah.
So it's a cool concept, but it's awesome.
Yeah, we that's actually when we have like a special occasion or a dinner at our house, it's typically the wine that I'll pick as like the starter.
Yeah.
Only because it's such a, I feel like it's like a show on its own because so many people have never seen a red sparkling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Neither have I. I may have to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. This has become one of my new favorites. I'll have to put this on the
Yeah,
list.
this is
this
very
easy
good.
is this easy to buy, or is this something that's hard to get your hands on?
This is winery exclusive, and we've literally only made 3 barrels worth of the wine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So it's hard
Holy
to get your
it's
hands
under
on.
lock and key at the winery.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, this is special
Come on by. We
occasion
might be
stuff.
able to unlock it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
now we're
nice.
talking. Yeah, because
Yeah, I'd like a couple bottles of
I've
that.
never
Yeah.
tried this, and I think this is the best wine that I've ever had. Like it's like this thing's it's really good. I love that flavor. It hits your mouth like something else I've never had.
Yeah, yeah, it's delicious, and you can really taste the tannin, obviously. And tannin is actually sort of the technical part of it is polyphenols. So what happens is they almost sort of act like Pac-Man. So they go in and they suck the proteins out of your tongue, and that's why red meat, for example, is so great with red wine, is because the proteins are sucked out of your tongue by the tannin in the red wine. But then when you have the protein from the meat, it sort of replenishes the proteins back on your tongue, so it actually sort of rounds everything out, and that's why the two of them pair so well together.
Interesting.
But so this is the Wayne Gretzky whiskey barrel-aged red wine.
Very nice.
It's awesome. And earlier you referred to him as Wayne, right? Like not
First
not
name.
not the great
Right.
one, not Mr. Gretzky, but Wayne. So you must have met him. You've had conversations.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit. Everybody, I'm sure, wants to know like what's Wayne like.
Yeah.
Can I call him Wayne?
Sure, you can.
Mr. the Great One.
Yeah.
If you're in Niagara on the Lake, you can call him Wayne, absolutely. And Wayne is sort of almost uneventful in the fact that it's kind of what you'd expect. He's just such a great guy when you meet him, and extremely humble. and went around thanking all of our staff, for participating in the winery and the experience that we deliver. And so he's a big part of the brand. He comes at least once or twice a year. COVID's thrown us for a bit of a loop, but every time he comes, we have a big party. So it's always good to see him, and he usually brings a couple family members with him. And
that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I missed the one time he came. I know
he was here for the grand opening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a
you
big
guys
party.
And obviously, Walter has passed away now, but he used to come to the property all of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
He's a big supporter.
Yeah, it was just amazing to see. He would literally take, Father's Day, when he could have a million other things to do. He would take his Father's Day and, come down to the winery with Glenn, who's another one of his sons. And he would sign autographs for people that are there all day. And
what a beauty.
I don't know if you've ever met him, but people are
Yes,
in love with the guy. And so it was really cool experience for me to be able to meet him and to sort of see what kind of impact he's had. And also how many people have, would go up to him and have a story about how they had already met him at a rink or that kind of thing. So it was, he was a really great man, and we're going to miss him around
we
rink.
have an office in Brantford, and the stories that Chris, tells about his experiences meeting with them, and he even sat right beside Ryan and Nikki. Was at a Raptors game or something?
Yeah, I saw those photos with that in London.
Yeah. And if you know Ryan and Nikki, they don't know a whole lot about hockey. They're basketball people, but they said the experience meeting with them was just unbelievable. Yeah, a lasting impression. That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us, so now we've had a glass. Oh, you're taking it easy. You're trying to stay controlled here. So you look good.
I'm going to wait until the cameras are off, and then I'm going to party.
Yeah.
But, now we like to get into, what is Niagara on the Lake? What does it mean to you? Tell us a story about Niagara on the Lake. Tie it into, your history, your background, how you ended up here. Let's get some of your take on Niagara on the Lake.
Yeah, I do love it. And so Niagara on the Lake means to me, well, we started off with Niagara College and sort of telling you about how I first sort of found out about the industry. And it's funny to me that I could grow up in Niagara and not really have an understanding of how well-known the wine industry is in Niagara on the Lake. And I didn't drink wine at the time, but my dad kind of encouraged me to get into the industry. And like I said earlier, I sort of drank beer and whiskey. And when I found out about the wine industry, my first job was at Chateau de Charmes. So I started there and worked there for a summer, and that's where I caught what you call the wine bugs. What a lot of people refer to in the industry is, when you just test it out, you're hooked.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I worked there for a summer and had a great time, and then ended up meeting Stacy, who was my boss for 7 years at Jackson Triggs in Enniskillen.
It always comes back to Stacy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Stacy. Yep.
Yeah.
And so, I had a lot of fun with Stacy. She was a great mentor for me and gave me every opportunity in the world. And literally every year I had a different position, between Jackson Triggs and Enniskillen. And so was able to learn in a very short period of time a lot about the business. And I think what I love about the industry is, Niagara on the Lake is synonymous with wine and, the tourism industry. But I believe wholeheartedly in the benefits that tourism brings to Niagara on the Lake,
Right.
Just in terms of, raising quality of life, the amount of investment. We have millions of visitors that come to the region to visit us and see our region, but they spend on average $142 per person, while they're here in town. And that really helps to kind of improve the quality of life and the infrastructure that's here in Niagara, and helps to continue elevating and pushing the destination and keeping it relevant and exciting. And so part of, what I love is not just the financial aspect of it, but it really is kind of the community feel that you get. We all work together to raise money for different charities. The Joe Pilateri fundraiser, that he just had, raising, I think it was $60,000, $60,000 or $70,000 for the Terry Fox Foundation. And the way that it's an agriculture business, it's farming at its heart, but we're also able to do so many more things. So it's what I would consider the greatest value add industry in the world, in terms of it starts in the vineyard with the farmers tending to the grapes. and then it heads over to the winemakers to make the wine and craft it, and then marketers get their hands on it to actually put a pretty package on it, and then at the wineries we get to have a lot of fun with all the customers that come through the door, and they're coming from all over the world, so it's an opportunity for us to kind of showcase what we do here in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And and it's just a really great, special community to be a part of, and a lot of people are really supportive of what we're doing. And
I agree.
They leave with a smile on their face, and so to be part of that every day for me is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. But you touched on the part that I love the most, and it's like it starts with the dirt and the hard work and the grind,
The vine,
and
the wine.
Yeah, but the process, right? Like you just have to nail it, and it's not like weather is like a portion of it, but also like just the timing of everything and just hitting it just right. And you guys are always kind of playing with the timing of everything to kind of see if you can get like a different flavor or whatever, right? But then it goes from that to the process, and the process is like we're drinking one now that was 2012 and 2016. Like the fact that like we're enjoying it right now, and that process would have started in 2011 essentially, right? When you're like planning how that vineyard's going to play out. It's pretty unbelievable, and it's funny because it's like dirt and hard work on the back end, and then it's party and leisure on the front end.
Yeah, that's
right?
all we see is the estate.
And so everyone's attracted to the party and the leisure,
Yeah.
right? But the back end is and like in our business, a lot of what we're doing is like these custom homes that are kind of ridiculous, where the only focus is lifestyle, and a lot of times our houses aren't even that functional because the purpose of it is for it to be fun and exciting, and like the house we're building right now is 40% glass, right? That's not functional, but it's a lot of hard work, and to even design a house that even works on, like the back end of it is quite the process, where the front end of it is all for show, right?
But
so
we
it's kind of the same idea, right?
For sure, and craftsmanship at its finest, right?
Yeah.
It's this sort of relentless pursuit for perfection and always upping your game.
Yeah. It's the first time I was able to like tie in like my kind of life, my life into what you guys do, because I know that it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but we
Right.
also have the amazing opportunity to represent some of the up and coming or smaller estate wineries where I've had a couple of clients, you guys have had a couple of clients that are literally starting this journey from scratch, finding the land, buying something that's the grapes have been there 3, 4, 5 years, or buying completely vacant land with nothing planted, and now you've got to prepare, and you get to witness your clients, because I've had a couple of clients now where it's been 3 years in, and they're just starting to work the land because they had to prep everything for so long. So, and like you like you said, it's the dirt under the fingernails, and you get to witness it. And that's what I love about my job, is that we get to meet these people that are starting their own thing, and it's really neat to see it all come together.
Yeah.
It's different.
Even like with Gretzkys, I've like it's still fairly new, where I remember coming around the roundabout and there was nothing there. And then, fast forward, to 2017, and there's this big, beautiful building that, in my opinion, fits perfectly with where it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Hard to even picture it not there.
No,
Because you said 5 years. I know 5 years went by fast, but it was like, man, I can't even picture that corner without Gretzky's there.
Yeah, absolutely. It fits well into the landscape, and
It does.
That's what's great about the wine business, right? Is you can take any town in the world, but the benefit that we have is we have these amazing farms that were at once upon a time they were peach orchards and fruit fruit farms, and now they've turned into vineyards. And we also, when we're putting a winery building, we have to have a certain percentage of our land that's still vineyard. So we're not losing the charm that comes with the region. We're able to add beautiful, architecturally stunning buildings that kind of add and enhance the backdrop, in a premium way. But
I agree.
Yeah, you actually hear that a lot, that Niagara-on-the-Lake's a tough town to like develop in and build in, and for good reason.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep it
concepts like
boutique
that,
and have some charm, right? So I think that's really cool.
Well, even with the breezeway, you can see right through it to the vineyards in the back. You can see into the rink. It's a good design. So what do we have next? What's next?
I guess we have the Jackson Triggs Shiraz.
All right.
Which
Shiraz.
is a great wine from 2017, which was an awesome vintage here in Niagara. And like I mentioned, I worked for Jackson Triggs in Enniskillen for 7 years. And the reason I chose this was because of my favorite part of working for that business was the amphitheater. And so I guess it would have been in around 2012 when the Tragically Hip came to Niagara-on-the-Lake. And they played a concert at the Commons, but they also played for us at the amphitheater. And for me, it was just such a really memorable moment because we hosted them at a rental in Niagara-on-the-Lake along the Parkway. And I remember every single moment of it. It was just to host the Tragically Hip, arguably, definitely the most famous and iconic Canadian band.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to actually meet, the members of the Tragically Hip and to meet Gord Downey and to have him actually sign my bottle of Shiraz at the time. We didn't ask him to do it, but he was just such a kind and genuine guy.
I'm surprised you didn't say Gord.
Yeah, Gordo.
Just Gord.
Gord.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
a first
for
name
sure.
basis with everybody famous in Canada.
Well,
So I drank the bottle during his last concert. So that's why I didn't bring that one. But I did bring the 2017 version of the same thing. And so that's
well, that's
why we had the
that's
Shiraz.
an amazing story, and it's also, like you said, it's a Canadian story.
Yeah.
You've got the Tragically Hip coming to the world famous Tragically Hip coming to the world famous wine country. Staying on the Parkway, meeting the staff, signing the bottle. It's just it even gets me emotional. The Tragically Hip's one of my favorite bands. And watching that final concert, pulled out my heartstrings there a little bit. So that was an amazing story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. It was one of those moments where I knew I was going to be in the wine business, but it sort of cemented it for me that, I think I found my place and I think I'm going to be here for a while.
Yeah, that's one of those where like the front end of the story is worth the back end.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of hard work to get there, but to be a part of that is pretty amazing.
Yeah. So cheers.
Yeah, let's
One
do
more
it.
time.
Let's get in there.
Cheers to Gord.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful.
So now I'm going to flip the tables on you guys, and you tell me what you taste in this wine.
I'm gonna have to have a second sip.
Yeah.
Just so I can-
Yep.
Yeah,
Take your
think about
time.
it.
That last wine's pretty powerful. I gotta
Yeah.
get it out of my mouth.
We needed
Yep.
to get the water, cleanse the palate.
Yeah, this is the second time you forgot the water.
What's water?
And this one is what's another name for a wild berry or a blue?
Like a blackberry?
Blackberry.
Yeah,
Yep.
blackberry. But they've got another name. What is it called?
This one is definitely,
But it's a blackberry.
Raspberry?
a little
Cherry?
bit, like it's like definitely
Acai
sweeter.
berries?
Like the last one we had was so strong. But
That
this one actually is drying my mouth
Yeah,
out
I would say it's
more
dry.
than the first.
Yeah.
Like it's sucking my tongue right out. Like
Yeah.
the last one, I felt like coated my tongue, where this one is like more like, if it's a word, liquidy,
Yep.
and like passed over my tongue, but now my tongue is dry.
Yep.
Like I need a steak.
So again, sort of the power of suggestion is for me, I always default to peppery. So if you smell it again, I think you'll find some pepper in here.
I wish I had said that.
And so that's kind of that's the one characteristic that I would always, when I was tasting red wines blind, I knew it was the Shiraz when I tasted that sort of signature peppery taste.
It's funny because I don't like I'm drinking more wine nowadays, but I can't believe the difference that I actually taste now because I've never tasted such a dramatic difference before, which is like crazy to me because I typically don't recognize such a big difference between the two. And that obviously probably for you, you've tasted them so many times that it's obvious, but it's just interesting to me that I'm like catching this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just takes practice, and that just goes to show, right? Like you're already sort of discovering that there's a difference between the two. And,
Yeah.
as you do it more and more, you'll learn more and more.
Yeah.
And where it gets really tricky is the blend. So the whiskey barrel aged red that I poured you is a sort of a typical Bordeaux style blend. So it's Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot. And so, to be able to say that all three of those great varieties are in the same wine, that's where it gets really tough.
Yeah.
But oftentimes people will sort of associate that with being kind of the heavier red, and usually there's a bit of a blend.
Yeah.
I actually now, so my last couple sips, I'm feeling more of that peppery like tickle in the back of my throat. Like it's like there's a little bite there. Yeah. So now I'm getting it. It's funny though, because like Jess said, like we never used to drink. Like when you're like, we're both athletes, and so we would drink for like a celebration. Right. So we would go sometimes months without drinking alcohol, but then there'd be a big party at the end of an event. You know, and then you're drinking for like the outcome, right? And so like, you know, you're chasing every drink with a lime. So it's funny like now, because now like, as you know, our athletic careers, like mine's done, and you know, I take some of the things that you do now. Like it's funny because it's like the only thing that mattered. You wake up every day in the morning, your goal is to be the best in the world at something, and then that's over, and then the next day you're like, what do I do now, right? And so I take a lot more joy, obviously, in our kids and different things in life, like travel, but like food and wine has like actually taken a big chunk of like my joy category now. Like we love going out, having like a good steak and pairing it with a wine, and like, so, you know, we're navigating through like our understanding of wine, and I love sitting down with someone like you and getting like a different perspective.
Yeah.
But
it's a great journey.
Yeah.
So speaking about food and wine, speaking about Niagara on the Lake, what's your go-to? What's your date night? What's your night out? What does that look like in Niagara on the Lake?
Well, when Laura and I can get rid of the kids, it's date night at Trius is always a really popular one. I know it's kind of taboo because I work there, but really it is. Yeah. We would do date nights on Tuesday nights at the winery, and it was always really, really popular with locals, so we would always do that. But my wife is a big fan of wine tasting, so literally we almost play, tourist for the day or Niagara on Lake resident, where we would go to different wineries and just try and explore new wines. Yeah, that's one of the best things about Niagara is that there's always new wines that they're coming out with. So, like Jess, you were just talking about the sparkling Merlot. Mm-hmm. Well, things like that, those new products and new innovations are being released on a regular basis. So it's always fun to kind of go out and taste what's new. So I love doing that. Love it. And then another sort of date day or date night activity is we do a lot of Discovery Pass programs as an industry. So again, sort of demonstrating the collaboration that we have as an industry. And there's touring pass programs that we do probably 5 or 6 times a year, where you can buy the pass and go to any of the participating wineries. And usually there's about 30 or so. So that's a really good way to kind of get out and explore and have fun. And then, things like just downtown Niagara on Lake, going to the Shaw, taking in some of the retail shops down there, some of the awesome restaurants, some of the waterfront, just going and relaxing out there. Debbie Pratt, the PR manager at Inniskill, and great lady, she sort of loaned her kayaks to Laura and I a couple of times, and we would go down to the waterfront there by her property and literally just drag the kayaks down to the waterfront and jump in and have a good time. So, there's so much to do here in the region and so much fun to have.
That's awesome.
Well, I love that. I love that answer because it almost solidifies the fact that there's always something for you to do here. Mm-hmm. And, just even for my own birthday, it was like, Gabe was like, what do you want to do? I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to stay here. Yeah. And I literally want to do, we called it like a pub crawl, but like a winery crawl. And I just wanted to spend the day. We started at the Niagara on the Lake golf course, and we just basically went, 2 sisters. We did the loop. We came back, we did the Old Angel Inn. And, we even got a B&B right in town. Nice. Like, what better way to spend your birthday than in your own hometown and staying like 10 houses down the road from you?
Yeah, then you get to relax. You don't have the long trip home, and you sort of feel a little bit refreshed after a bit of a reprieve.
That's right. I love it.
It's funny because we still do it.
Yeah.
We still do. It was a couple weekends ago. Our Sunday was freed up, and we went for lunch right on the strip there in Queen Street, and then we went to the park with Ella. She played in the park. We walked around, and then we did the drive down the Parkway. Yeah, and it's
all the time.
It's funny because like that was what we would do when we were kids, right? I say kids, we were like 19, 20, but we'd come here and just dream about like, man, look at this place, right?
I'd live there. Yeah. No, I'd live there.
Drive down the Parkway and fantasize.
Absolutely.
So how old is Ella?
She just turned 5.
Yeah. Okay. 2-3 days ago, and then our youngest is 8 months.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And your kids?
They are 5 and 6.
Oh, wow. 5 and 6. Not messing around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're a ton of fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you
That puts a
must be
totally
still
different.
recovering from trick or treating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candy coma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still in that.
Actually, I did pretty good at restraining myself. I got 3 kids. So I got Hudson, who's 5, Kate, who's 18 months, and then Jagger, who's 6 months.
Okay.
So it's the same 5 and 6,
Yep.
2 and or 1 and 0. But yeah, it was wow. Did a good job. I was proud of myself.
Yeah, good for
I only had like 1 handful of candy
Wow,
as
that's
opposed to
impressive.
the 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, so no hangover for me.
good for you. You touched on Trius for date night. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just that Trius is like a hidden gem that I didn't know about until recently, or if you guys have done like a complete change since you've been there, or if I shouldn't give you. I know you have like an incredible team at both wineries, so I don't want to give too much credit to, you know what I mean. Sometimes everybody wants to say, well, it wasn't just me, but like man, Trius has got some stuff going on. Like the bubbly room, the
movie
like
night.
it's like
We haven't even done
food
that.
food
You
there.
haven't done the movie night?
Nope.
Yeah, we're
What?
gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
I think
That
I
on
saw
the list.
Greece, I think.
But you guys are doing the outdoor, like, and you adapted well to COVID. You had the outdoor huts where you could
Yeah,
in individual
domes.
groups in
Yeah.
the domes. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I love the view from, what is that even called? The thing where you're in like the
Rosé
lookout.
all day.
Yeah, the lookout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like you guys got a lot. It feels like you're in a little village there.
Yeah, we've been to a lot of the wineries, and it wasn't until this summer that we did the Trius Rosé all day tour. And I have never been so impressed by a wine tour. Like
Yeah, it was really well done.
Evan's family was in town, and we brought them for an outing to taste the wine, which is what we typically do when they're in town because they enjoy it.
Yep.
And man, I was blown away.
Like I've been to Trius for dinner, but we show up, it's dark.
Yeah.
You kind of walk through it all and you go and have dinner and you, right? And so like going there in the day and experiencing it all, I
seeing
was really
everything.
impressed. Like
Yeah.
Trius
Very.
is awesome. Like Trius is a place that people need to go to. And that's part of the reason why we do this is because like we love to hear other people's stories. Like that when we started this podcast, it was like Andrew had a good story while he was here. Our stories like we thought was interesting, and then we get into everyone else's story about how they end up in wine country. But somehow Trius has remained like kind of like a hidden gem. Believe it or not, like obviously you know the numbers, it's busy, but
Every time
like,
I drive by, it's
We've-
hard
we-
to find a spot.
we bring people there now like regularly for dinner and stuff like that, and they've never been there.
Well, the food
But see, I
is
didn't know that you could go for dinner.
it's next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
And again, we hadn't gone for a full meal there until probably about a year ago. I feel like it was during COVID.
Probably longer than that, but yeah,
But when we went, we were extremely impressed with the quality of food, the servers, just everything. It's the whole experience.
yeah. You got one server at Trius. Like if we get him, like I'm so happy. About
Yeah,
it.
we're
'Cause
like, we
he's
want
like-
that guy. To be honest, I don't even know his name, but he's great.
No.
Yeah, we have a few that are regularly requested for sure.
Yeah.
I can't take any of the credit for any of that, for sure. At the Trius restaurant, I think part of one of the reasons sort of maybe a hidden gem is because it's sort of back in further
Yeah,
on
that
the
look-
property
yeah,
and not
yeah.
everyone knows about it. And the Trius wine reputation, we have a really sort of strong wine portfolio in the region, so it's heavily sought after. So there's a lot of locals and people know that come for sort of the specific showcase wines that we make. But the restaurant, for sure, like hands down, all of the credit would go to Frank Dodd, our executive chef. He's from the UK, internationally trained, just one of the most amazing chefs in terms of demeanor and humor, but also. For me, what's amazing is the flavors and the presentation, but also how he can do it consistently every time. I've never had a bad meal there, and I've worked there for 7 years. And I eat there probably 2 times a week. So the odds are pretty good that you're going to have a good meal when you come in and dine with us.
And you stay slim. I'm not sure what you're up to.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you're It's the wine.
Yeah.
It's full circle. You just have a little bit more wine, and it's good for you. So, Frank Dodd for sure. John Ingrao, he's our restaurant manager, and he's been there for 5 or 6 years and has really helped the front of house team. And we just have a really great sort of collaborative dynamic with the marketing team. Tina, she's the one that helped to deliver the Trius tour. And it's a fun business to be in, and it's a great pleasure, I would say, just to work with people that are just so collaborative and like to have fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
I think we're getting to the end of it here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to sign off. Anything
eat
else
this food now,
anybody wants to say or bring up or say? Are we did we hit it all?
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you let's just do a little plug. Let's do a little plug. It's date night for people who are watching. They go to Trius. What are they ordering?
Well, our date night menu, right now we're doing a tableau style menu. So it's prefix, and you go and you order 2 courses. So an appetizer, an entree, and then there's a dessert that comes with it.
Okay.
And then also some kitchen snacks that Frank Dodd makes. So that's definitely something I would recommend checking out.
Nice.
And then also even just doing a tasting before dinner. It's kind of nice. The typical restaurant experiences, you go in and you have dinner and then you leave, right?
Yes.
But to be able to set your night up in a way, you're out with your partner and, just want to have a sort of sampling of wines that you can try anything from our entire list. You can try those beforehand, and then you know which wines you want to drink while you're having dinner. So it's kind of a good way to extend the evening and have a little fun at the same
Now
time.
we're talking. See, Jess, date night. If you want to spoil me, now we're talking. Trius, it's all set up.
Come on, Jess, set it up.
It's easy
Set
on
it
you.
up.
It's easy on you, right?
Maybe it's you, Evan, that should be setting it up.
Oh, wait a sec. I need to set these up.
That's right.
But, yeah, that's a great way to go. And then literally on the same property, you walk to the back, and the Gretzky rink will be up and running in December. So
Nice.
Super excited about
do
that.
some tasting, and then
Yeah.
dinner, and then go over to Gretzky's for a
Yes.
little skate night
Go for a
afterwards.
skate.
So-
Now
Yeah.
we're talking.
That's
So
awesome.
that's like a weather dependent. You don't have a set day where you turn it on,
Well,
kind of
there's
thing.
refrigeration there, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have
Yeah.
40,000 feet of glycol tubes all inserted underneath the
crazy.
concrete and cement where the rink is. And so that allows us to operate the rink when it's 5 degrees Celsius or colder.
Nice.
So as soon as
Oh,
those
perfect.
temperatures come in a consistent way,
Yeah.
we'll be up and running.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Amazing.
That's
I love
awesome.
I can't wait to go skating there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hey,
Hockey stick.
well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thanks.
coming
Yeah.
on here. This was awesome.
Yeah.
And now
Blown
we're
away.
now we're gonna get the mics out of the way and jump into
Yeah.
this
And
food,
indulge.
jump into
Wow.
the spread.
Yeah.
Party time.
Yeah, absolutely. This was amazing. Really appreciate you coming. Great stories, and you know what? I learned
Great
a little
wine.
bit more about some
Yeah.
great wine.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks, Tim. We appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it.